Why are we looking at Duane Brown, hopefully the starting left tackle for the Seattle Seahawks this coming season, as if he's some geriatric? I mean, he's not even 36 yet. He's going to turn 36 at the end of the month. Last year, he was one of the best pass blockers in the NFL at left tackle. If you take a look at the advanced statistics that ESPN puts together, pass block win rate, he is second only to one offensive lineman who we will get to a little bit later. Duane Brown has been the model of consistency over the course of his career. He has played in every single season of his career, except for 2017, the season that he held out for the first half of the year, at least 12 games. Every single season, despite playing a position that lends itself to injury. He is the model of toughness. He is as good a run blocker as he is a pass blocker. And yet, there's this reservation about giving him an extension past this season. Forget the fact that the Seahawks would be absolutely lost without Duane Brown this year and next year at left tackle. Just forget about that, because I think that's the biggest reason that the Seahawks should be giving him an extension. But look at Duane Brown objectively. What is the big risk in giving him that deal? Are you really of the assumption that his play is about to fall off just because of his age? Because that's the only argument that I'm getting. And I got into back and forth with John Clayton earlier this morning, and I understand the professor's line of thinking here. We've seen a lot of veterans just sitting out on the open market and not getting a whole lot of money. And he brought up Eric Fisher, and he brought up some other offensive linemen that have gotten deals that honestly are bargains. But we're not talking about Eric Fisher. We're talking about one of the top 10 tackles in the NFL, a position that is exceptionally hard to find a replacement at. Think about how crazy the Houston Texans were trading 2 first-round picks for Laramie Tunsil, who I'm not even sure is a top half of the NFL left tackle. That is one of the most important positions in the game, and they are so hard to find. Like the Seahawks are going to find out next offseason when they don't have a first-round pick. Say they wanted to go down that rabbit hole to replace Duane Brown, they're going to have to find a project guy sort of like Stone Forsythe, who looks like a massive human being but clearly has a lot of work to do if you've been taking a look at him in training camp to this point. I mean, he's big, but, you know, guys can get underneath 6'8" tackles. They can get leverage. They can drive by him, and we saw it with L.J. Collier in a couple of plays yesterday at training camp practice. So back to Brown. Brown has been a model of consistency for you. And you're not going to have to give Duane Brown that much money, I would imagine, to keep him in the fold. We're just asking for, and I say we, a lot of people have texted in, Paul, are you on Duane Brown's payroll? I should be. I should be. But I look at Duane Brown and I think it's not going to cost that much to keep him around a little bit more. And if you want to make a comparison, let's talk about the guy in the NFL who had the #1 pass block win rate. That man plays for the Los Angeles Rams. His name is Andrew Whitworth, and he's going to be turning 40 this year. He was #1 in the NFL in terms of pass block win rate this past season. #1 at age 39. He's still playing well. It's possible to still be a good tackle as you get up there in age. I think off seasons, now that they have changed and the wear and tear on an offensive lineman over the course of a season is less, it's not to say that offensive linemen don't obviously get the hell beaten out of them over the course of their career, but I think there's a little bit less now, and that's why you're seeing someone like Andrew Whitworth continue to succeed. That's why you're seeing someone like Jason Peters out there. I can understand being nervous about some middle-of-the-road tackle who's getting up there in age. We're talking about one of the best. And if you don't have him for the start of the season, a guy who has sat out in the past, you're going to open Russell Wilson, one of the most sack-prone quarterbacks in the NFL, to getting hit and to potentially getting injured. He's been a model of consistency. He's been a model of durability. And there is no reason to expect that all of a sudden Russell Wilson is going to get hurt. But by that same logic, just because Duane Brown's going to turn 36 at the end of this month, that is no reason, in my mind at the very least, to assume that all of a sudden he's just going to fall off the face of the earth over the next 2 seasons. At the very least, isn't he going to give you a passable left tackle maybe next season too? A good left tackle this year? Why is it that people are so nervous about giving him a contract? I would like to see the Seahawks extend Jamal Adams, but I think there's more risk involved with the Jamal Adams contract than there is with Brown. I mean, with Brown, we're talking, what, a little more than $10 million a year? Andrew Whitworth signed a 3-year, $30 million contract last year. Not a whole lot of guarantees, at least after the first year of the contract for this season and the next one. But Duane's not going to be asking for much more than that, I would imagine. Are we really just going to arbitrarily cut off at $10 million a year and say, you know what, yeah, it's not worth having a good left tackle past that? As someone who has watched a similarly mobile quarterback not have a good offensive lineman, not have a good left tackle because they traded him to Seattle, I will just tell you that you do not want to find yourself in a spot where all of a sudden your left tackle isn't good. Seattle's been a great spot since they made that, I think, brilliant trade halfway through 2017 where they only had to give up a second-round pick and a third-round pick to get Brown. It is not going to be that easy to find the next one. So what's the harm in signing Duane Brown? What are you so scared of?